This is Omar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. With me is trainer Jamie Moore. Just seen a huge fight take place, Jamie. Billy Joe Saunders striving for the greatest achievement possible and beating pound for pound number one Canelo Alvarez. Came up short. Let's just quickly address the ending. As a trainer yourself, Mark Tibbs, I'm guessing you're going to say yes, 100% made the right call.
Yeah, of course. You know, fighter's safety is always paramount and should be from a coach's point of view. So, so you could see instantly the damage as soon as the shot landed, and you know, I think the more we're learning about that type of injury, you can sort of the look of it is very different than, you know, just your general swelling of a. When you just get swelling around the eye, it sort of sinks in and changes shape a little bit differently than a normal sort of black eye. So yeah, it was an educated, informed decision, and certainly, you know, if you now we know the actual damage, what was done. You can't even imagine what would have happened if he'd been sent out there for the ninth round. And Canelo, who's one of the biggest punchers pound for pound in boxing as well, so accurate, his timing so well, his timing so good. And that shot in particular, that right uppercut, he'd been looking for it all night. He was landing it downstairs early on. And then as the fight sort of started to develop, he started to switch it back upstairs. He was missing with it a lot when he switched it upstairs. But I'd got up with my kids to watch it, and I was saying to them, as the fight goes on, once Billy starts to slow a little, because he's worked his body really well, he'll probably start to land that shot. And that's what happened. And it was definitely the right call by Mark. And, you know, Billy would have probably gone on and carried on fighting to the detriment of his health. So that's what your trainer's there for.
Mm. Yeah, even if your fight is saying in that position where you can see there's been a lot of damage, as you said, not just swelling, but it looks like there's a fracture where you can make an educated guess that there's a break. Even if your fighter is saying, let me out in round 9, let me go. In that position, Jamie, would you just cut it completely? Would you not let him go?
Well, I think the fighter's reaction, you know, you should know your fighter and how they react. And every fighter would want to go on. But I've never had that injury, so I don't know. But I've got a feeling that the fighter will know something's not right and something is different than what is usually going on. So the reaction, what you get from your fighter, should tell you that something's not quite there. So I don't think a fighter in that position would be doing that. I've got to be honest with you. I think you might get a sort of maybe the reaction of, even if you say, come on, you know, you okay? They'll go, yeah. It'll be a deflated yeah, rather than, you know, they could. Now, if a fighter's not badly hurt and they've just got a bit of a swelling into their eye, and you start going, you know, your eye doesn't look great, you know, I'm going to pull you out, you get a real sort of bad reaction to that. You'd be like, no, don't you dare, you know, and they'd really dig their heels in. So you can tell from the fighter's reaction how badly injured they are, I feel, especially if you know your fighter.
Mm. Obviously, we've seen a lot of people giving Billy stick, you know, people in the sport as well, respected people as well. I'm not going to name drop. What do you think about kind of the criticism that Billy's getting after, similar to what Daniel Dubois had after the Joe Joyce fight, labeling him an quitter, etc.? I know it's different situations where Dubois took a knee and this time the corner pulled Billy out, but it's been the same kind of criticism.
He's got a lot of the same criticism, but I don't feel it's because of that reason. I feel it's because of the comment Billy made about Dubois. So a lot of people are pulling that up and going, you know, you can't say one thing and do the other and thing. I think now Billy's experienced it and seen what happened, his opinion would be different. And that's like any single aspect of life. You can't really, or you shouldn't really comment until you've walked in that person's shoes. That goes for everything in life. So you know, a lot of people try digging Billy out because he's one of those type of fighters. He's a character. You either love him or hate him, and it's the people who probably dislike Billy Joe are trying to dig him out. But at the end of the day, he performed so well. Let's not take away from the fact that it was a tremendous performance. It was a close fight. I had Canelo probably a couple of rounds up at the point of when the fight ended, but I can see the argument for the other way. He gave a great account of himself, and he goes home healthy to his family, and that's all that matters.
So I'm guessing you gave Billy like a couple of the middle rounds.
I think it was the first round, maybe. I thought he just nicked it.
Okay.
I think it was the fifth, maybe the fifth and the sixth. I can't remember exactly, but a couple of those rounds towards the end where you got the feeling he was winning, just winning the rounds, but he was having to really exert himself to do it. So that's sort of detrimental to the long-term goal of trying to stay in there. And as I say, the body, I was really impressed with Canelo, how quickly he closed the gap. He seems to have slow feet when even though his head movement's so good and his defense is so good, he seems to have slow feet, but he seems to close the gap so quickly. He landed a lead left hook to the body with a southpaw within 10 seconds. And I was like, wow, his accuracy and his timing is phenomenal.
Do you see anyone beating him around sort of from middleweight to light heavyweight?
I think light heavyweight is probably at the point where you start looking at and going, size could be a factor. I know Kovalev, that just didn't happen, but I think a better version of Kovalev would have caused him more problems. You can't just look at power because he's got such a good chin and his defense is so good. So you need the type of fighter like Billy, who's fleet of foot, who's evasive, but probably someone with a little bit more pop to get his respect. But I mean, you're talking about trying to design a fighter who, by the sound of it, if you put it into a computer system, is near on perfect, which goes to show you how good Canelo is. So, Mayweather is the only person to have legitimately beat him, and that was when he was a lot lighter than he is now. So I just, for the foreseeable future, I can't see anybody beating him around that weight division. I think age or size will be the only thing at this moment in time what beats him.
And for Billy Joe, obviously, to get his health back in order is the main thing. And if he wants to fight, are there any particular names that kind of would interest you to see Billy in the ring with?
I think Billy's maybe at the stage now where he's done so well financially out of the sport. He's achieved a hell of a lot. And this could be one of those types of injuries where he sort of goes, is it worth still putting your health at risk for the long-term goal? I've achieved everything what I ever set out to achieve in the sport. So do I need to do that anymore? So sorry, just getting phone calls again there. So I don't think he will carry on. I've got to be honest with you. I think, it's such a tough game, and when you hit the heights what he's hit, especially with that the magnitude of that fight what he's just experienced, it's going to be a big ask to ask him to come back and box a 10-rounder against a top 20 guy after he's had an injury. I just don't foresee that happening. I really don't. And there's plenty of fights out there for him. There really is, and he's young enough to do it if he wanted to do it. But I think a lot of us, we come from the backgrounds we come from, and we want to financially secure ourselves and and our families to make sure that we don't have to experience what we've experienced in the previous generation. He's done that now, so I don't foresee him trying to risk that.
We'll have to see how the injury heals up, and then what his hunger levels are after that. I guess that's the main thing. If he still wants to be in the kind of Golovkin fights, maybe the Eubank rematch, Demetrius Andrade's there's still fights there for him, but I think it depends how much he wants it still.
It does, yeah. And, I think everybody would love to see a Golovkin fight, for instance. Eubank Jr., to me, I don't see any mileage in that fight. It's a name. But I think I seen a video on social media of him sort of laughing at Billy Joe Saunders, which I don't like that sort of stuff. I think it's very disrespectful. So I don't ever see Billy Joe wanting to give Chris Eubank Jr. an opportunity to earn big money, because that would definitely generate big money. So, but Chris Eubank Jr. is his own man, and I'm sure he'll go down his own path, and he'll probably pursue, try and get the Canelo fight or the Golovkin fight. But maybe should go and earn that first.
Just before we close off, Jamie, how is Carl Frampton? Have you had kind of much contact with him since you guys come back from Dubai? I'm sure you have, but yeah, how's he kind of faring, Jamie?
Yeah, I've been on to him every week, couple of times a week. He's actually just messaged me this morning now, sending me some signed gloves over for some people who've been asking. So yeah, he's in good spirits. You know, we've spoke about this and saying he wanted to know the answers to the question: could he still win a world title? It was a big ask because of the weight division. He was so much out of his comfort zone, and Herring is so big at the weight, so it was a big ask. And even though it wasn't the answer he wanted, he's got his answer, so he's content. And you know, he's at home with his kids and his family. So him and his wife Christine, they're at home. He's probably in the situation what I'm talking about with Billy Joe, where he's achieved all he wanted to achieve. He's secured himself, so he doesn't feel he's got anything else to prove. So yeah, he's nice and content, and there's a few bits in the pipeline for him where a bit of work opportunities coming up. So I'm happy for him.
All right, glad to hear that. Are you and Jack flying out to Taylor Ramirez by any chance?
Yes. So well, Jack is going out there and he's going training over there, sparring, and he's going to be there for the fight. Me and Chantel get in the day before, so we'll be there for the fight. So we're gonna all go along and sit ringside and see what's going to be offered up to Jack for the winner.
All right. Well, listen, enjoy your trip to Las Vegas, and obviously you'll have a very keen eye on the main event. And we'll speak soon, Jamie. All right. Appreciate your time today.
Top man, cheers, you man.